Resveratrol and the brain.
Dr. Jerry Petermann from Challenge Life Better, from Herbs of Earth, our naturopathic doctor.
Today we want to talk about resveratrol and how it affects the brain.
Liver function improvement was another one I read about on there. Protecting your brain and helping with focus of your brain and protecting the cells from things like Alzheimer's was another big part of the study.
Yes. Let me tell you what happened to a friend of mine. 6 years ago, he walked into our little coffee club. We meet at 4:35 in the morning. And he said, well, I guess that's it. And I said, what's wrong? He said, I have Alzheimer's. And I said, how do you know? And he said, well, I had an MRI and there's very tiny webs in the brain.
Okay.
And he said, called amyloid betas, sometimes they're called beta-amyloids, the little tiny fibers that eventually short out the brain. And I said, well, I don't want to lose a friend. So let's get to work. He said, nothing you can do about that. And I said, well, that's right, if you do nothing about it. So he said, what are you talking about? And so I got him to take a material that had high doses of resveratrol, and had to laugh because the product had 4 as the capsules that you take per day. And I felt like we really need to kick it up a notch. So I said, take this material, it has high levels of resveratrol. And he said, oh, okay, well, what did I do? And I said, well, according to science research, resveratrol in high doses can actually melt beta-amyloid, or amyloid betas, whatever they call it, from the brain because it penetrates the blood-brain barrier, say that twice, quickly, and it can melt this material and restore your mental function. And he said, well, I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm willing to try this. So he said, okay. So he takes the product, and I said, you know, it says 4, but take 5, okay? So I guess he wasn't really paying attention. A couple of days later, he called up and he said, I don't know, should I take 5? It says 4 on here. I said, Mike, listen, I wrote the label.
There you go.
It's a nutrient. It's not a drug, okay? You could take 2 or 3 more than that. It wouldn't hurt you, okay? Just take 3 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, and let's see what happens in 6 months. It's okay. And I said, you cannot miss anything. You have to keep doing it every day.
Yeah.
6 months later, he went in for an MRI. He comes back to the coffee club, and he said, well, they said they just made a mistake. And I said, what do you mean they made a mistake? He said, well, there's just no evidence of any Alzheimer's, no beta-amyloids and all that. And I said, Mike, it's all digital.
What do you think?
What are you telling me? You couldn't have mixed it up with Mrs. Jones's brain. I mean, these are digital images. It's not like somebody took the X-ray and put it in the wrong file. This is digital. There's no mixing it up. And he said, well, they just said I'm in remission. I said, great, you're in remission. Let's see how long that lasts. That was 5 years ago, and he is no longer any evidence of Alzheimer's whatsoever.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Dr. Petermann, I think our time is running short, so we'll have to wrap this up.
Well, thank you for asking. These are interesting subjects. If you want to pick my brain another time or something, or let's talk again, this is fun. I enjoyed it.
Good.
Thank you. Very, very good quality question. I love that.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. And what is it you say every time on the way out?
Be well.
There you go. Thanks.